All right, so I'm gonna do a seat removal, front seat removal on this Charger pursuit model, but it should be similar for Chrysler 300s and other Chargers. These seats aren't too difficult to remove, but I'm removing both of these to do some cleaning, as well as to give me better ease of access to get this partition out, because I don't need that. I'm gonna get rid of it. These bolts take these funky sockets. This is an E12. And it's like a reverse Torx bit. And basically you're just going to remove 1, 2 on the front, and then there's 2 more on the back, which we'll get to. This seat is electric, so I've got to undo the connection. It's right there. But I'm not going to undo that because I still need power to this thing in order to move it forward to get access to those back bolts. So let's get started. All right, so typically seat hardware is on very tight. So let's see how tight these are. Oh, yeah, they're tight. So I'm just gonna loosen these up like that. But you can see I'm using my long ratchet wrench here. Just got to get the one on the other side, and this seat honestly needs to be replaced. That will likely happen. I'm eventually going to find a donor Charger, most likely, with a bad engine, hopefully for cheap, that still has a halfway decent interior, and do an interior swap, because it's very obvious that this vehicle was a cop car. Up here to remove the seat belt, which I might just do that right now, just to kind of get it out of the way, because you know I'm gonna have to get back here to kind of move things around a bit. So it's actually a T50 Torx bit, and with any luck, we don't need an extension. We'll just go ahead and undo this thing, so we can at least get this out of the way. I'm just going to leave that alone, kind of hanging in the back. Now we're just going to remove that bolt there, and that one back there. All right, so I broke torque on both of those bolts. So now I'm just gonna get my impact back there and pull them out. A lot easier than trying to, use the 18 or 20 degree swing on that thing at best with that partition in the way. So we'll get those undone. Then we'll fully remove the fronts. And then after all 4 are out, we should be able to kind of angle this thing to be able to get at that electrical connector at the bottom. We'll unplug that, and then at that point the seat should just come right out. So I've got access to the fronts now. Both the backs are out, so we'll just quickly remove these. There we go. So bring it forward just a bit. Let's see how much we can get this thing to move. It should be everything. Connectors out. There's 2 studs in the back. So lift it forward. And there we go. So now I can get back here and clean. That seat also had to come out because of this partition. That's the way that they mounted it. It doesn't appear that there's any bolts going through there into the floor. It just looks like it mounted right to the seat. So now things will be a lot easier to get this partition out. And now I can remove that seat as well. I'll let you guys know if there's anything different with that one. That one is a fully manual seat. And yeah, this one largely is coming out the same. Not really a huge deal here. Just the 4 same bolts. I did have to pull this cover off because that was actually not lost on this seat. Pulled that seat belt off and disconnected that yellow wire harness at the bottom. So now I just got to pull it out. Not too bad. Now I'm just going to do some cleaning. Like I said on the other side, had to pull these seats out in order to get this out. Now use this again. Much cleaner in here now. So underneath the vinyl there, lifting that up and that up, revealed all kinds of junk. Same with over here on this side. Now, I found underneath the seat, before I even started messing with all this stuff, just when I, dove the seats, I found this. So I held on to it and I knew it was the top of a flashlight. And then I ended up finding the ring, which goes right here with the rest of the light underneath the vinyl floor, as well as a plethora of batteries. I have no clue if any of these are still good, probably not. But I don't know if this light is any good or if it's even a good brand or not. But I found all kinds of stuff underneath there, mainly ballpoint pens, some loose change. Honestly, the vacuum got most of the smaller stuff. This is really just what I pulled out by hand before I started vacuuming. So I'm gonna try and find some batteries and see if this thing will work or not. So now I'm gonna start trying to pull out the partition. Now, I'm well aware that they probably installed this thing piece by piece inside of the car, but I'm gonna try and get it out as one piece. Seeing as how the seats are out, I might have to also remove this armrest to get a little bit more room to move things around. But I might be able to slide this out the back doors. Might is the key word there. It's a 14mm socket on both of these nuts on both sides. I don't think that this thing is secured anywhere else to the actual car. So we're gonna try and do this without getting a wrench or whatever on the other side and see if this thing will just, these bolts or these nuts will just let go. Now it loosened up. That one came off, can't complain there. So what I'm gonna do is store all this stuff. This side is going to this cup holder, that side going to this one, and we'll see what we can do with this. I guess I do have to go get a wrench for the other side. That deflector panel came off with just those two pieces of hardware removed. Really the only structural piece is that piece going to the door jamb. But I think we're okay on this side. I might have to remove both the plastic deflectors to kind of get some more room, but we might be in luck here. So now I'm going to pull the hardware out of that side and hopefully this thing will come out. I'm going to do the bottom one first. You know what? I think I am just going to remove these. It looks like it's really irritating. So I've got these two screws here, then there's another one up here, but of course the headliner and the roof is in the way. So I'm going to try and shift this thing forward and maybe we can get a better angle on it. All right, so I've got the plastics out, those two sides out, and then that base out. All I have to do now, and I think because I'm just one person working on this, it's probably going to be easier just to kind of split this thing in half down the center there. And it looks like in order to do that, I've got to remove all of these pieces of hardware. And this one will probably be the easiest first because this is going to come out first. Then these two will come off next. I don't think that they're attached to the rest of this anywhere else, but I'm thinking once we can get these 3 pieces off, I should be able to kind of angle this thing out and get it out of the car. Yeah, so that thing's out. Came out really easy with the impact. Only issue is this side and probably that side too are gonna be a little annoying, but the rest of this stuff seemed to come out pretty well. So honestly, I'm not too upset, but now I'm just gonna have to remove these last couple stragglers and get these bottom pieces off as well. All right, that's all done. What a huge pain. Got it out. There's the rest of it. So I've spent about the past hour or so just cleaning up in here. Oh man, that hurts. Yeah, it looks a little bit cleaner. The only issue I'm having now is I've got to remove this trim piece, which is proving to be kind of difficult, just to get at the bolt that's holding this in place, and then I can remove this. Same goes for that side too. Unfortunately, because it does not appear that either one of these pillar covers have been removed since this car was made at the factory, it's kind of difficult to get them unseated without breaking stuff. So I buttoned everything back up down here below. I did start removing the prisoner seat, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit more work to get this thing out because I've got to remove the seatbelt receivers here. And it's just this main bolt and lock nut that goes through. So once that's out, I can remove the rest of the screws holding this thing in. So that's been removed. There's the other piece right there. This screw is not attached to anything, but we'll remove it anyways. That should be all the screws. So now we should be able to just move that just like that, because now I got to get to the seatbelt mounts at the bottom there that are holding the bottom part of this on, so we can remove this and then get this thing out completely. But let's look behind it, see just what we're working with here. Oh man, I shouldn't have put the vacuum up. It is filthy behind there, but at least that's all blocked off. So I'm gonna get this thing out. We're gonna clean this up back here with the vacuum for sure. That is very filthy. I'm not surprised at how bad it is, but it is pretty dirty. I'm also gonna have to figure out how to get these things off. All right, so that side's out. It's that same T50 Torx bit. Pulled that bolt out and I just threaded it back in just so we don't lose it. Now I just got to do the other side and we'll pull this piece of plastic junk out. The last part of the removal of the last piece of hardware right there, which was right behind this pillar cover. You have to remove that front cover out, this back cover, and then this thing pops out at the bottom and you have all these clips. Here's a better, there you go. That's what the clips look like. And the two at the bottom are just kind of hook type clips, I think. And then you have the two in the center, which are those normal stud clips. So anyways, basically you just pop out each one of the sides first on the outside, and then you go in through the middle. Get yourself a trim piece remover kit. Those things are perfect for that. I was able to get the L shape underneath it like that and kind of pull them out, and then I just work my way up to the top. Now I'm pretty much at the point right now where I've decided that yeah, I'm gonna have to end up getting a donor car to fully redo the interior of this thing. So all of these are gonna be replaced. I'm just gonna do a full interior swap on it if I can find another Charger for a good enough deal, or even a Chrysler 300. I think it's all the same stuff. Now I'm just gonna button this side back up and I'll get you guys an actual video doing that side. The driver's side, it's pretty much the same as this side over there, but this one they've got a drywall screw going through it. So we're just going to remove this, kind of set it aside. Now this just pops off. Leave that there. Just have to pull that piece of trim off. The good thing is, these are the easier pieces. So I just let that one sit right there. Now, we don't have to take this whole thing off up here. We just kind of need to angle it in such a way that we can get at these screws that are holding this piece in. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of, this thing will cooperate. I think I use this one. There we go. Same on this side. This one's already out. That one. That one. A couple more. There we go. So that came out as intended. Now, you want to make sure not to upset or disturb this thing, because it's on a track in there, and I had to address that before I put it back up, of course. But you can see how that thing is routed in there. But we just need to set this thing out of the way here. Just flex it so we can get at those screws. It's not that difficult. There's just 4 screws, 5 holding it in. It's kind of interesting. This is a structural piece, and the only thing that they've got anything structural about it is they've got 5 self-tapping screws going through it into the pillar here. I don't know that I would call that structural, but here we are. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those, and then we'll get on to the next step. So all I'm doing now is just going to position this. I did vacuum out both areas here and up there. So at this point, all you have to do is really just kind of line everything back up. Okay, so I've got this piece in, that piece is in. I just need to sink this screw down, and then once we get that done, we'll start putting the seats back in. You guys don't need to see that. It's pretty much just a reverse. But yeah, we're really coming along with this thing. Definitely happy with how it's turned out so far. All right, so this is where we're at with this thing now. Front seats are both back in and hooked up. Got a bunch of flies this time of year for some reason. Definitely looks a lot more empty back here. This will make things a lot easier to service. Gonna get that wire bundle out next. That'll be probably in the next video. There's another bundle that I thought was, yeah, it's smaller, but it's coming around here. That might be all the CAN bus stuff. I have no idea. All that stuff that I took out is over here. Partition's on the other side. A lot cleaner. This vinyl probably should be replaced at this point. But I was able to vacuum out, clean up a lot of the door sills too. So I think I'm overall pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. I probably am going to remove this push bar at some point. Then I'll have to trace the wiring back for this speaker here, get rid of that. So far, I've only spent the 200 bucks on the battery and then $35 on the new door lock actuator. So I'm gonna have to replace that. But I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing around the block a couple times and, you know, make sure it still starts okay. I started it this morning, so I don't think there's any parasitic loss from the battery now. Stay tuned for more videos.